Every coastline you have ever seen is temporary. Melt all the ice on Earth, and the ocean climbs 216 feet. That is 65 meters. Enough to erase Florida, Bangladesh, and quite possibly the city you are sitting in right now. But here is the twist. Most of the ice you are picturing, the floating kind, would not raise the sea at all. The ice that matters sits on land, on rock, and almost all of it hides on one continent at the bottom of the world. Antarctica. And the strangest part of this whole flood is not the water arriving, it is the water disappearing. Hold that thought. So melt it all. 65 meters of new ocean. Now watch the map of your world quietly redraw itself. The entire Atlantic seaboard vanishes. Florida disappears completely. So does the Gulf Coast, taking Houston and New Orleans with it. In Europe, London, Venice, and the whole of Netherlands slip under. The Mediterranean swells into a wider, hungrier sea. Asia loses the most. Shanghai, Mumbai, Kolkata, Dhaka. Hundreds of millions of people living on land that simply is not there anymore. In Australia, water pushes deep inland and floods the dry heart of the continent, creating a shallow new inland sea. Here is the number that matters most. About 40% of all humanity lives within 100 kilometers of a coastline. Not 40% flooded, but 40% living in the zone where this story happens. Cities are coastal by design. So how long would this take? Not overnight. Not this century. Scientists measure this in centuries and millennia, not headlines. Antarctica alone holds about 58 meters of that rise. Greenland holds another 7.4. Everything else is rounding. That ice runs up to 4 kilometers thick in places. You do not melt something like that with a warm summer. Now, the floating ice. Remember? The Arctic sea ice, the icebergs. Melt every one of them, and the sea barely moves. Because floating ice already displaces its own weight in water. Archimedes worked that out more than 2,000 years ago. Drop an ice cube in a full glass. When it melts, the glass does not overflow. The Arctic is that ice cube. Which brings us back to the water that disappears. Because a world with no ice is a world with no water towers. High in the mountains, glaciers work as frozen reservoirs. They store snow in winter and release it slowly all summer. That slow release feeds the Ganges, the Indus, the Yangtze, the Mekong. 10 of Asia's greatest rivers start as ice. The United Nations warns that glacier loss threatens water supplies for around 2 billion people. 2 billion from the ice. So here is the cruel joke of a melted world. The ocean arrives everywhere at once, and the drinking water quietly leaves. Too much water and nothing to drink. Coastal cities drowning while inland cities go thirsty in the very same century. There is one more effect most people miss. Ice is white, and white reflects sunlight straight back out into space. Dark ocean absorbs it instead. So every square kilometer of ice lost makes the planet a little better at getting warmer. Which is why scientists watch the ice sheets so closely. They are not just victims of warming. They are amplifiers. Now the good news. Nobody serious expects all of it to melt. This is the far edge of the map. But the far edge tells you which direction the map runs. Every coastline is a truce between water and time. So here's tonight's question. If your city had 100 years of warning, would you build walls or move? Until next time, imagine further.